Praise be Jesus and Mary.
Amen.
Today we commemorate a Franciscan saint, St Catherine of Bologna. Bologna is a city in Italy where Catherine was born in 1413. She came from a wealthy family, received a good education. At the age of 17, she joined the Poor Clares. In her monastery, she fulfilled various functions, from baker to novice mistress, all the way to abbess. She was also a gifted painter. Some of her works of art, which are very good, are still existent today, and we can see them. She was an example of humility, obedience, and charity. She was loved by all her sisters and died at the age of 50 in the year 1463. To this day, her body remains intact, incorrupt, and she is seated in a chapel of the monastery in Bologna, and on the chair on which her body is seated, we can read the words of Scripture from Wisdom, chapter 4, verses 1 through 2. How beautiful is the chaste generation with glory, for the memory thereof is immortal. It triumphs crowned forever, winning the reward of undefiled conflicts. So on this chair on which the incorrupt body of St. Catherine sits, her chastity is in a particular way remembered, praised, glorified. How beautiful is the chaste generation with glory. It triumphs crowned forever, winning the reward of undefiled conflicts. Now, chastity by Scripture in that same verse is called the victor in conflict, because chastity requires a conflict, a fight, a battle against the passions. In fact, the Catechism reminds us in 2339, paragraph 2339, that chastity includes an apprenticeship in self-mastery, which is a training in human freedom. And the alternative is clear. Either man governs his passions and finds peace. So it's a struggle with two alternatives. Either we govern our passions and find peace, or man lets himself be dominated by them and becomes unhappy. And so it's a fight, it's a conflict, it's a battle, it's a struggle. But chastity, with the help of God's grace, comes out victorious if we wish chastity, if we want chastity, rather. And one thing that I'd like to just share with you, one thought, in the battle for chastity, again, if God permits us to be in temptation, God will give us the grace to overcome temptation, even if it's a very, very strong temptation. But on the other hand, if we look at chastity as a struggle, we must be smart in the struggle for this virtue and avoid the temptation if we can do so. Avoid it altogether if it's in our power to do so. So it's practical common sense, but sometimes we forget about it. And if we do remember it, then chastity and any other virtue really becomes much easier. The smart way to fight temptation is to vanquish it before it gets strong, to avoid what's called the near occasions of sin, as we know. And again, I give these examples not because they necessarily apply to all of you who are listening, but because they're examples, and maybe you can share them with people to whom they do apply. But so, again, vanquish the temptation before it gets strong. Say no to the temptation while it's still easy to say no. Because when you already have impure pictures in front of you, it's very hard to say no. But we can take the easier way out and say no to what we know leads to having impure pictures in front of us. So it's easier to say no to the temptation to, I'm just going to mindlessly scroll on Facebook for 15 minutes, for 20 minutes, for 30 minutes. I'm just going to mindlessly surf the internet, even though I know there's going to be trouble there, even though I know I'm going to find impure pictures and they're going to be right in front of me. But no, say no to the temptation while it's still easy to say no. I'm just not going to mindlessly scroll. Or, again, when you have immodestly dressed people in front of you, it's difficult to say no to the temptation to lust. So don't go to places where you'll find people that are immodestly undressed. Avoid the occasions of sin. It's difficult to say no when you are in a near occasion of sin with a person of the opposite sex. So take the easy way out. Don't put yourself in that occasion. When the stupid thought comes to mind, I'm just going to spend the night with my girlfriend or boyfriend, and nothing's going to happen. Yeah, something's going to happen. You're going to be in a near occasion of sin. Say no when it's easy. Don't put yourself in that situation. Again, maybe these examples don't apply to those listening here, but again, they're examples of how we need to avoid near occasions of sin. And undefiled purity requires a struggle in every state in life, in every period of human life. Even the saints had to fight and struggle for chastity, and so do we. So let's be vigilant, but above all, confident. If God puts us in a situation in which we are tempted, well, He will give us the grace to overcome that temptation. But if we realize that we are putting ourselves in a situation in which we will be tempted, the smart thing to do is to avoid that situation altogether. Again, that beautiful quote that we began with, how beautiful is the chaste generation with glory. The memory thereof is immortal. It triumphs, crowned forever, winning the reward of undefiled confidence. Praise be Jesus and Mary.
Amen.